Hi, in this video I want to discuss and basically go over whether you think car modifications increase a car's overall value, they keep it neutral, or they decrease it. Let's face it, a lot of us love our cars. We treat our cars as an extension of our personalities. It doesn't matter whether you have a Fiat, a Skoda, a VW, a Ford. We all love our cars, and basically, a lot of us like to modify cars and, again, say, personalize it to our own taste. Now, a lot of people on the forums, when you talk about modifications, yeah, it's true. There's a lot of people that diss other people, leave nasty comments on modifications that they've done for whatever reason, whether it's been done cheaply or not to everyone's liking. But there's people out there that say, forget all the haters, do modifications to a car that you like, which is fair enough. But when you've done these modifications, what I'd like to find out in this video, again, is it going to affect the overall value? So let's say, for example, like I'm sat in my Focus. If I had another Focus exactly the same mileage, everything, but it had a big body kit on, it was slammed, it would be remapped, massive exhaust, you name it, would it affect the value? Would one person go to that car? Would they say it's worth more than what this car is, or would they not look at it and prefer the standard version? Now, what I've done is I went to a show earlier and I was going to ask people at this mini meet what they thought. I completely forgot because I was too busy looking around at other people's cars. So you may have seen them. What I've done is put a few posts on Facebook, throughout the groups, mainly Ford groups, because that's the type of groups that I'm in. And basically, these are the comments I'm going to go through. Put a few on the screen and basically try to summarize, if you like, through all those comments, what people actually think. Now, obviously, during this video depends on comments from you guys as well. So if you agree, disagree on any part, while I go through this video on these items that I do, leave your comments down below. Obviously, I would love to comment on them and other people can comment and see what they think. So this is a chance for you guys as well to leave your opinions as well. So yeah, what I did, like I say, I went to the forums and I gave people a bit of a list that I made up, common things that people do when they modify a car, and basically asked them, would it put people off? So I want to split it into different segments. So first of all, would these modifications put people off if they were buying a car? And then I asked them, would you think with people doing these type of mods, would it increase a car's value or decrease? So to start off with, I'm going to go through the list now that I put out there, and we'll see what people think to these modifications. Like anything else, you can buy stuff really cheap and you can buy stuff that's expensive. And a lot of people basically thought the same thing as I went through this list. To start off with is coilovers. I've put a bit of a cost as well against each one. I may be way off, but it's just basically just to give an idea. Like I say, you can go in cheap or you can go expensive. So it's just a rough price really. But yeah, coilovers, I've put between £200 and £300. I know there's cheaper ones. You can get eBay specials, like with many of these, or you can go for the more expensive ones. But yeah, coilovers, £200-300. A lot of people weren't really put off by these, just so long as it weren't eBay specials. Now the next one is the air intake, probably one of the most common and easiest ones to do. With this, a lot of people did say it basically came down to what was on the car. Now, if someone had put, let's say, a £10 Halford special on their eBay special, then they could probably guarantee that the rest of the car would be treated the same way and mostly used, budget parts. If it had, let's say, a Montune, version on there, I know they could go for around £250-300. Then, yeah, again, they're quite expensive. So if you're going to do it, it's been done properly. Most said that they wouldn't really be put off by an induction kit, unless it was a decent one. So put next is a catback exhaust system. Again, the same thing with this one. I've put £350-400. Again, depends on what you go for, whether it's a manifold as well or if it's just a back box type of thing. But yeah, wouldn't really put people off if the car had it. Obviously, if it was too loud, then that might be a different thing. but I know a lot of people do like their noise, especially from the petrol cars. It's what a lot of people do obviously want after an induction kit that people tend to do. So the next thing is strut braces. Now this could be down from just the one front engine top brace, or all 3 or 4. I think there's quite a few you can get. Some people said that it wouldn't really put them off, just so long as if let's just say it was on a family car, it didn't get in the way of its basic use really. Unless it was someone that wanted the car or wanted a family car for themselves. They say there were a few exceptions of that one, but majority, as long as it didn't get in the way, they were fine with it. Now rally livery, I've put about £200, I might be way off on that. But yeah, cars that are all stickered up, example, the rally type, I'll put a picture up. Yeah, it didn't really put people off, or so they said, but I think obviously people that would go for this are people that want that type of car. Just for an everyday driver, I don't think many people would want that, but I guess like most of these, it is personal opinion, and that's why, as I say, I really do appreciate anyone leaving your comment down below, because all these are basically subjective to your own opinions. So with this one, I've put tyres. Yeah, what I mean with this one is, if someone had, let's say, 4 budgets on there, let's think of some Green Lane or Good Ride, or there's Ling Long, there's plenty out there, would that put you off if they had all budgets or mismatched? And a lot of people came back and said, basically, if they're all budget and mismatched, then yeah, pretty much like other mods, then you could pretty much guarantee that the person that owned the car may have struggled to keep the car running. If the car had 4 premium tyres, Michelin's, that type of thing, they would see it as a plus sign really, that the car's being looked after. Now last one, kind of the biggest one really, is I put a remap. Now this could be down to anything from a guy with a laptop, which could be like £80, to a full-blown dyno. So yeah, the comments on this one were very mixed. Now what a lot of people said is, if let's say Mr. Smith 2 doors down, or somebody's son with a laptop came and has remapped it, you don't know what they've done to it. They could have put a password on the ECU, locked it out, you don't know what's been changed, and there's basically no coming back to it. It can be a bit sketchy whether you take the risk on buying a car that's being remapped. Now a lot of people said, now if it was done by a reputable garage where you've had a live dyno run, you've got all the documentation and everything to go with it, then obviously, again, big price difference between each one, then that wouldn't really put them off, so long as they know it's been done properly. Basically, would all those, putting them all together, you probably, let's say, a grand's worth, easy, grand, £1,500. If you had, say, the car side by side, and you had £1,500, £2,000, let's say, whatever, of modifications, would that car be worth £2,000 more than what the standard car would be? Now the answer to that is no, it wouldn't. No, because when you modify a car, in my opinion anyway, you never get the overall value back in most cases. Now a lot of people, when asked about would it put you off if a car had all those done, now majority said yes, it would. Most people would prefer a standard version, simply because that the car's not being messed around with. It's easy to spot whether the car's being looked after, and that it's not being ragged around and had a hard life. Now there were a few people that said no, none of those, or majority of those, wouldn't put people off buying a car, because they'd want those things done anyway, and it's probably an easier way to buy a car that's had all those done, rather than spending the money yourself and adding that extra money, the cost wise. For most of those modifications done on that car, what they did say, which I can't agree really, is that if a car's had most of those done, then the overall value would be a lot lower in most cases. Not all, there's probably a few exceptions that you're watching, but overall a modified car is probably worth less than a standard car, or at least people won't want to pay as much. They would want to pay less than a standard car. because it's a big risk. Now, unless you can go through, and like I say, unless people have got all documentation and you're willing to take the risk on that car, the majority would prefer a standard car. So there were a few exceptions. Let's say, for example, let's go for, I'm not going to say a cheap car, but it's not, but a cheaper car. Let's say this Focus again. A car that's done or had most of that done, majority of people said to me that they would want it cheaper than a standard price. Now, in the area where this differs, if you're talking about, probably a high spec or, BMW M3s or Porsches, or let's just say premium cars to start off with, if you're doing things like air intakes, exhausts, these type of things, yeah, you can get budget versions, but majority wise, these things are, you're talking probably £2,000 for an exhaust. When you're talking premium cars, you're not going to put Alfred's air filters on an expensive car like that. So where it differs, as I say, if you're looking at premium cars, yeah, potentially it may add value to the car, because if someone's looking at that type of car and wants to do them, people know that it is potentially going to add value. But if you've got a cheaper car and people have done this type of thing, majority of people have said that they would want to start fresh, know it's been looked after. So I'm not going to make this video too long. I say I've been waffling on for more than enough time now. So yeah, basically I want to leave it there, but I want to basically ask you to leave your comment, your opinion down below. What do you think? What car have you got? Did you buy it modified? Did you willingly pay more than what a standard one would have been? Or was it roughly the same price? Or did it make it easier to buy, having all that done, than what a standard car would be? This is what I basically want to try and find out, really. Or has it completely put you off that you would never go near a modified car unless it was really, really, really cheap, and you took that gamble on it? But yeah, okay, without me waffling on, I'll leave it there, and I will see you in the next one.